Hi everybody, it's Gene Simmons, and you're not. This is Kiss My Collectibles podcast. What you do?
Click T when you want a t-shirt. Click T accessories too. Click T any way you want it now at clicktshop.com.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next episode of Kiss My Collectibles. I am one of your co-hosts, Jason Herndon, and with me, as always, is...
Nicholas Buckland from Down Under. I'm even wearing my AC/DC t-shirt to represent the faith.
Hey.
Mm.
And
Joe
with me,
Lalic,
of
and I don't
course,
care about
is-
anything Nicholas just said.
Yeah. And that's just for anything I say throughout the whole
That's right. That's just a blanket statement.
Yeah,
That's
blank. Just apply all.
So, thanks for joining us for the episode, guys. Especially in this weird time going on in the world, we hope we're going to keep you entertained a little bit. This week on the episode, we're going to do viewers' questions.
But not yet.
But not yet. Later
Easy,
on.
Nicholas. Relax.
Relax, Nicholas. But yeah, we haven't done them in about a year, and we just thought, hey, let's throw it out there to the viewers. We've got new viewers. We've got new stuff that's come out and everything. So there's some questions to talk about. But yeah, that's what we're going to cover this week. And but before we do that, does anybody have new stuff? Shall we do what's in the box?
I think we should should we talk about Click T Shop and any, follow us on the socials and all that stuff. Really, the most important thing is Click T Shop, right? Go there. Cool designs. Cool guy running it. Go there, buy some stuff. There's some of our stuff there. Buy it. Or don't. Whatever.
Follow us on our socials.
There you go.
Kiss My Collectibles, Kiss My Wax.
All that.
Instagram, Twitter, Facebook.
Grinder.
Tinder, Patreon, Farmers Only,
That's for Jason.
Plenty of Fish. That's where I met my wife.
Plenty of fish.
Yeah,
I've never heard of that one. Okay.
So, anyway,
Tell me, I've been going there for seafood. It's the worst thing ever. Clams, I caught crabs from Plenty of Fish. It's like,
Oh boy,
funny.
we're never getting a sponsorship deal from.
Plenty of Fish.
This episode brought to you by absolutely nobody. We've offended everyone.
no kidding. Holy crap, that's funny. So, but anyway, that's our plugs.
What did you get there? I got an STD. What did you get? I got my wife.
Both.
Oh yeah.
Oh gosh, that's the most I've laughed in weeks.
Won't take your place.
Hello Kiss fans and Kiss collectors, my name is George Laval. As you see right behind me, I'm a big Kiss collector and Kiss fan. I'm going to be reviewing a very cool Kiss collectible for you today. The item I'm going to be reviewing is the Kiss Love Gun Tour 77 statues. These statues features all 4 Kiss characters, the Demon, the Star Child, the Spaceman, the Catman, in full 77 era costumes and instruments. Each statue measures about 1/6 in size. So fans, there's 2 ways you can purchase this set. One is a bundle with all 4 statues that include a very cool light up Kiss color logo that is used as a backdrop for your favorite Kiss member or backdrop for all the statues put together. If you purchase these individually, the logo does not come with it. So if you buy the bundle with the statues of 4, you get the very cool Kiss Stage Light logo. If you get them by itself, you just get the statue by itself. The Kiss Love Gun 77 statue set is a run of 500 statues in total. So they're a very, very limited set. Now the fun part. How much are these going for? Well, for a set of 4 statues that include the light up logo, will run you about $1,199.99. Yeah, that hurts the pocket just about a bit. If you want to pick these up individually, that again does not come with the stage logo, are going for about $349.99 each. Okay, here's a little downfall for us collectors in the US. These sets are only being sold in Australia at the moment. I did a bit of looking around, and there are only one site that is selling them, and yes, they do ship to the US. But it's going to cost you about a couple pennies. If you want to pick these up online, head over to popcultcha.au, popcultcha.au, and you can pick up the statues, the sets of 4 with the logo, or your favorite character only. Well, that's it about my review about this Kiss item. Thank you for having me. It's crazy out there, so stay safe, everyone. Wash your hands and keep Kiss collecting.
All right, so let's do what's in the box.
I'm gonna open it.
What's in the box? What's in the fucking box?
I'm gonna open it.
Okay.
All right.
Doing impersonations of our intro. I'm gonna open it. What's in the box? Hello.
Oh man, that's fun.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
want me to go first?
Who's got something?
Yeah, do it.
I only have
You
one.
go first.
I only have one thing. So, I don't know, Joe, do you have anything?
I've got one thing. Yeah.
Good. Well, a good friend of mine was selling this in the group, Alan Mooney, and I want to thank him for the great deal. It's incomplete, but I was very happy to get it for the price that I got it at, and I figure maybe I can try to, build up, figure out what else belongs in it. I think there's a poster that belongs in here. We'll see. Anyway, I got a good price on the Love Gun press kit. So, yeah. And inside mine, not very much, and I do think there are quite a few pieces that go in this. I've got this Rolling Stone article on the band. That's a few pages. This may be, can't tell. I don't know. It may be copied. I don't know. It feels like real pages of Rolling Stone. I don't know, but there's that, and then there's this promo glossy 8x10, and then there were a couple of other things that were included in here. I was talking to Nicholas earlier. I think these may be copies, and I think Alan might have told me they might have been copies, and I don't even know if they belong in here, but these were in here. I think, like I said, I think they may be photocopies, but I'm hoping that Nicholas may have his on hand and may be able to show me what is supposed to be in this thing.
Well, I'm not 100% certain that what's in mine is supposed to be in it either, but I can certainly show you what is in the version I've got. In mine was actually, again, which could have just been stuck in from the office, but the Love Gun as well, the original. That hasn't even been folded out ever, so that's quite cool.
See, that's something that I can get fairly easy to put in.
Exactly, yeah. So just preempting something, you approve of Frankensteining these. Okay, that's good to know. So the next thing is... yes, okay, we'll save that for later.
He just set the trap for later. Gosh.
I set the trap. It's a trap!
It's a trap!
See, this one that's the one I've got. And again, that's really shiny, and it says manufactured by Kodak, and I'm wondering whether this is even original or not. I've got a suspicion that these kind of things aren't original when they're on photographic paper.
Right. One of mine has Kodak on the back on it too, and to me that screams a photocopy of some kind. But I'm not an expert in the promo glossies, and I'm sure there are some of you out there. So speak up.
The only reason
I
think it might. Yeah. The only reason I say that it may not be is you've got your shiny kind of ones, but then with all those same details at the bottom. But in here, in my one, this version it has got all that as well, and this is on your normal printed cardboard, the way you print a flyer or something like that. And this one is definitely an old thing, and it's it's definitely not as glossy. It's just printed on your normal thing with a slight gloss. Also, all this stuff down the bottom is pin sharp, whereas on the shiny versions, it's a little bit soft, as though it has been copied. So I just have a feeling that people have been doing that. I have this one, which is a photo, and again, this is on the less shiny. It's not super shiny, and it's on the cardboard, same backing.
Cardboard.
I've got the Kiss thing. Now, I think yours is real, Jason, because obviously they're not putting the original Rolling Stone article in every kit. They've obviously made copies themselves, and
sure,
they look identical. So I'm saying that yours is that's a legit one. Yeah.
So
exactly the same.
Is it kind of shiny a little bit?
It's kind of shiny, but it's not shiny like the press kit. Like that photo that we showed before. Like this I think super glossy.
Yeah, I think this is probably legit then. Yes. All right.
My one also comes with this one, which is an outrage called Kiss, which is New York Times Magazine. Again, in that same paper. It's got just reading one of the things. And girls alike, for surely this is freedom. This is sex. This is outrage and defiance. This is, yes, pube rock. That's what it says. Okay. And also we've got a photocopied press office thing. I have no idea whether this is. It says from the press office. It's got like photocopied from this is real just paper, just normal A4 paper. This is definitely old. This is like a little press office thing, and that's kind of yellowed a bit. And then last I've got this, which I'm pretty sure ended up in that poster that you've seen many times. We'll show the full unfolded version.
Right.
Up on screen now, but yeah. So that's what's in mine, and I just suspect that it's just that photo that's the only thing that is not legit.
Right. I'm confident that I can get the poster. I'm pretty sure that I've seen those floating around.
Yeah.
I'm confident that I can get the gun. The only thing I would worry about is getting a legit copy of, like the actual bio and stuff like that. I don't think I'm gonna have a hard time running across that, but. For the price, I couldn't pass it up. I would have paid $50. I got it for $50. I would have paid $50 for just the folder. So,
yeah.
All right. So, what's your real item that you got in?
So the real item I've got in. This came in super duper cheap, thanks to Jason. Actually pointed this out for me, and it is. So okay, well, let's have a little backstory. Okay, first of all, I thought all I wanted was just one copy each of all the 2014s, because that's the best thing. I don't collect multiple versions, and I had this one, which I found out after your vinyl episode, which has just been posted by the time this goes up live, that I went and checked. It said EU on it, so I thought, I bought that in Australia, and it had the reduced grooves on it. You can see there, so it's been all, pretty much the grooves are back to that spot. So I had that, and I went, and then Jason mentioned, or one of you mentioned, that the quality of the sound isn't as great. So I thought, great. So now I've bought this and I haven't got the best version. All I wanted was one really, really good version, and people are saying that they sound like crap. So Jason pointed me over to this, which was, how cheap was this? Was this like, I forget, it was like $7 or $7. And then to Australia, can you believe it? They shipped it for $6 to Australia for $6. So I got the US copy. How did they not lose all their money just shipping it here to start with? I don't know.
I do.
So, yes.
Because I know the company.
So now this presents a great opportunity to make the ultimate McGing shaking heads around. And this is how you do it at home, kids. So
no, it's definitely not how you do it at home. This is how you ruin. This is how you ruin things. You confuse people down the road for years. But mine came with the sticker, and mine didn't, and mine had this inner sleeve, and what? I don't know.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
So looking at this, we've got the US copy, which has a kind of a dull kind of matte sleeve. So what do we do with that? We throw that one away.
Nope, that one's better.
No, so we've got the lovely perfect version, which is the one I like, which is from my EU copy. Now inside that,
the perfect version for the imperfect person.
Yeah. So we've got this one. The EU record's not any good, so we can throw that one away. So we've now got the great EU sleeve plus the American copy, which we put in like this. Do this at home. And then we've got a choice between the two stickers. Now, you've got the very, very dull sticker of the US version, and I must have thrown it away.
Held up by a very dull co-host.
Yes, exactly. Everyone's enthralled by this session. This is Vinyl Tips by Nicholas Buckland.
Yeah, Vinyl Tips. To ignore by vinyl enthusiast Nicholas Buckland.
I seem to have lost the other sticker. Anyway,
Of course you did.
Oh, of course. Oh, wait. Okay, here it is. It's still stuck in the sleeve. Okay, so we've got a choice here. Come out, you bastard. Okay, hang on. So have a look at this. So
Even the sticker knows better.
Look, the US version has got this dull silver, but the EU one's got metallic. So we throw away the US one. Throw that one away. So now we've got EU sleeve, perfect. We've got American record, best sound. We've got EU sticker, the best. And then we add to that, this is a little extra thing, serving suggestion only, a 1976 merch form. And there we have created the ultimate perfect copy of Rock and Roll Over. There's nothing better than this. And that's how you do it at home.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to go downstairs and grab my promo poster and trim it to get it to fit a frame. Then I'm going to take my white double platinum because I don't like the way it sounds quite as well as the 2014 version exclusive. I'm going to unseal that, put that in there. Yeah.
What you should do is take your white double platinum and take a Sharpie and color the white in.
Right.
Or
exactly.
a silver marker and make it silver.
Yeah. It certainly would make as much sense as what you just did.
So, what you just did, Nicholas, I certainly don't approve of, but it was actually kind of useful because I don't think I've ever taken the US and the European version and put them side by side as far as looking at the covers, the quality of the sticker print, all of that stuff. I've only paid attention to the actual vinyl and looked at the run out grooves and listened to them.
It's funny that because I did it. Well, I did that with when I had I thought I'd have this perfect 2014 run, and then I noticed the Creatures of the Night cover was soft and not pin sharp. The Dynasty cover was not pin sharp, and the Unmasked cover is just abysmal. Like the quality of it, you hold the two up, and the original's pin sharp, and this is this kind of. I know they mentioned it's also been shrunk slightly, but it's just blurry, and so I'm going, well, I'll grab the original ones I had anyway and just put so I got the good music with the good covers, and I suppose it's only bad if you're going to sell it on or on-sell it, to someone else, but I think apart from my either imminent or long-term death, depending on, the state of the world today, it's not going to get sold anytime soon. I'm going to hang on to these for another 20 or 30 years. So, right. Yeah, that's future children's problem to work out what's going on with this damn copy.
All right, Joe, you ready to quit?
Irresponsible at the highest of the highest order. I don't approve of any of what I just saw.
And tell me why. Tell me why what I did is like the worst thing ever. Leave it in the comments below. I want to know.
Please don't private message me about how ridiculous Nicholas is.
Here. I don't care if you do either of those things. Just don't ever reach out to me, okay?
Oh, you mean to do with the vinyl? No, just in general.
Yeah, just no, I'm good. It would be like taking a Figures Toy Company version of the new Mego dolls and going, oh, I don't like the nose rub on that, putting that in the box like a jackass, and then putting the bandana on it and being like, you know what? I kind of like the cut of the boots of the old one, though, so I'm going to slide off these leggings and the jean, and, let's just really... What's the difference? There's no difference.
I mean, apart from
now
the
you're
merch
just making me angry.
It's from a different era, but these are both from 2014.
What does it matter?
It's better printing.
What about the 1977 order form or 76 order form you just put in there?
Jerk. That one's probably you jerk.
You suck, you jackass.
Well, why didn't they reproduce it? It's their fault. They
because idiots like you would be trying to order that stuff and going, how come I can't get a belt buckle for $1.99?
How come I can't? They're missing an opportunity.
I do agree with that. They are missing an opportunity. I do think they should have reprinted those order forms. I do think they should have maybe remade some of that stuff, jack the prices up to where they belong, and have them available to order somewhere.
I don't disagree with any of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but what you have to do is make sure that you can tell which version is which version, because
100%.
Just like old Kiss and new Kiss, whenever there's the Las Vegas review of Kiss or the 8 traveling productions of Kiss around the country, when our counterparts take over this podcast, they're going to be like, "What? This is so confusing. My grandpappy Nicholas left me this record, and it's nothing like grandpappy Jason's." What is this? How come Joe's are the only ones that are organized? Should I say Grandpappy Joe's?
All right, what'd you get, Joe?
Yeah, I don't even know anymore. I got the Crazy Collection first record. I'm so upset. Look, this isn't as nice as the 2014, although it's close. Look, it looks a little blurry, so I'm just gonna grab any one of these back here and just fire some stuff together. That makes sense. Ay. Crazy Collection Japanese. So it has the obi, so it kind of slides in. I can just kind of quickly show you here. So it would go like this, would actually slide in the record, the whole piece. So it's kind of a false obi, if you can see it there. So this actually slides inside the record. And there, we counted them the other day. There are 20 of these that came out in '87, right? And I thought I only had a couple. I've been kind of going through and not reorganizing, but adding some records that I hadn't filed yet into the groups of records that I have back there, and I have 4 or 5 of them so far. So I'm kind of on my way to down that rabbit hole to try and find.
I know you have Peter Criss. That's the toughest one to get.
Yep.
I believe.
And I have Rock and Roll Over, and I think I ran into the Elder, a couple of others when I was kind of going through all my records today. So, but yeah, came out in '87 as a celebration of, we believe, Crazy Nights. Asylum was
probably
the only
the tour.
And Asylum, we believe, is the only one without the obi, right? That doesn't have the false obi.
That, as far as I know, I think it's got the Asylum has a green obi,
yeah.
as far as I recall.
So that's part of the same collection, but it's manufactured differently. Is that what you're saying?
As I remember, I don't know for 100% certain, but what's interesting is you can kind of see it. So there's the whole map is kind of laid out of all the records that they put out. Mm-hmm. If you can see it down here at the bottom, maybe we can throw this up there. But there's a hard line break in between the last record. What is it? Double Platinum. Yep, and Asylum. Okay. There's kind of like a heavy design bar there. So I think that's sort of saying that, yeah, Asylum is out there, but it's not kind of the same collection.
It's not part of this thing.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Not part of that run.
Like an also available kind of thing. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay,
exactly.
Cool. Right.
So I got
How many have you got, Jay? How many have you got, Joe, of the Crazy Collection?
I think 4 or 5 now, something like that. Yeah, of the 20. Okay.
Cool.
So,
they're all pretty expensive. They're tough to Nicholas. They're tough to come by cheap. You know, I would say at minimum, what, $7,500 a piece at minimum for the common.
Yeah.
When you get up into, Peter Criss area, I mean, what is that? A $250 record?
Yeah, I was going to say around $300.
Yeah. So
I don't know which. I think the other one that's kind of expensive is Rock and Roll Over. I've seen that kind of go for like the $200 to $250 range. The rest of them are kind of like $150. Although it seems like some of the double records are more expensive as well.
They are. Yes.
Alive 2, Double Platinum are more expensive. Right. They're kind of tough to find just in general, especially to have a whole collection. It's really tough. I think I've seen a couple of members out in the groups have posted their, or at least a big chunk of that collection before. So it's impressive. Yeah.
And are they complete? The Crazy Collection, does it have the same inserts and is it all do they have posters and stuff in them?
No inserts.
But they did once? The original ones did.
Oh yes. The original Victors and those runs have inserts. When you got to the to the yellow obies, I believe it's Polystar as well. I don't think many, maybe some of the early '80s have some inserts. I can't remember, but most of those don't have inserts as well. Crazy Collections don't have inserts, but the Victor releases have. That's where you see all of the extras and all of that cool stuff. So
it's kind of interesting. It kind of begs the question, doesn't it? Where is the next wave of Japanese releases? Right? Because they did all of the CD box set things back in when was that? Was that around the remaster?
97
was that around the remasters era?
Well, I mean, they did those, but then I
got those small ones, all the little small CDs, which were little cardboard covers. They were so cool.
But then they did the SHM runs, which were in the 2000s, and those are amazing. And they have inserts, and they have the box sets. They have the unmasked box set and the double platinum box set.
Platinum,
yeah.
And there's another in there too. I can't remember off the top of my head, but they reproduced.
Put it up here.
Yes, they reproduced as an extra, as a bonus, the Destroyer with the, these are all miniature album covers with the gatefold.
Yeah.
They reproduced pop outs of the originals and the originals 2, where you could pop those out and form them and put the 3 CDs in them, and lots and lots. That was in the double platinum set. Lots and lots.
I mean, my Rock and Roll Over CD has the gatefold as well. It's got that live shot as well. So yeah.
So,
but where are the LP releases? Where are the 200-gram pristine Japanese releases of these things?
There's one.
Destroyer.
Destroyer. Yep.
But as far as like a whole run, it would be you would have thought during the 2014 time frame, if they were re-releasing all that stuff, that they had let it all fly then,
Well, up until about a year and a half ago, there was only one pressing plant left open in Japan. Toyo Kasei is what they're called. My company actually has exclusively distributes a lot of their Japanese releases here. And I've had dinner with the owner of that company, and they're super nice people. But the problem is they have to get rights. They have to buy license to repress all of that stuff, and they're a totally independent. They're the oldest pressing plant in Japan. They never closed, and like all the rest of them did. And about a year and a half ago or so, Sony reopened a pressing plant there, and I really think it's only like 1 or 2 presses. But of course, that's Sony. They don't own. They don't have the rights to press Universal. So that's why you're not seeing any Japanese presses, because you got an independent pressing plant that's probably not willing to pay out for the licensing fees. They just do mostly local Japanese pressing stuff, local country bands and Japanese bands. And then you got Sony, who doesn't own the catalog. So that's why you don't see Kiss releases. There's been nobody there to press it in decades. So
it's a drag in any event. It'd be fun to see that stuff hit again.
It's a big time drag, and it would be nice if somebody over there. I don't know why. To me, it seems like it's an opportunity missed, because Toyo Kasei is a fairly decent sized pressing plant. I would think that they would want to be looking for licenses for big bands like that, and would want to press that stuff.
Yeah.
Even if it's just limited runs.
Especially, I mean, I remember when I went to Japan, like it was still, their record stores are still pretty amazing. So it's not like they are a culture of people buying a lot of records. I think while we had all our chains like HMV and all that closing down, they were still cranky. I think Tower Records is still operating in Japan. To this day.
The only tower.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's one place over there in Tokyo. There's one spot in Tokyo where there's like 4 record stores on top of each other. I've seen some video footage on YouTube where people were going, digging into these record stores, and they were videoing and showing, these 4 record stores that are, one right on top of each other, and they just go into each one, and they still have tons and tons and tons of stuff over there.
Amazing.
Pretty cool.
All
right, so that's it for me this week.
All right, we'll see you, Joe.
All right,
guys, let's get to these viewers' questions, shall we? I haven't done a lot of editing, so I may have to self-edit here. The ones that say, I can't stand Joe Lalich. Please fire him. Yeah, I might have to
self-editing.
Sorry about that.
Self-editing, something Nicholas Buckland knows nothing about. So, thank God you're doing this, Jason.
That's right. All
and
right.
If there's any way you can make that note come true on your computer, that would be great.
No note. I was joking. All right, so I'm going to do the Instagram questions first. So we had a few questions on our Instagram. Vinylman13 says, and this is a quick answer, will you do a skip or play on the Elder or other controversial Kiss albums?
It's funny. I saw that question and I thought, haven't they all become controversial?
if Joe Lalich is involved in critiquing any Kiss album, it's automatically controversial.
That's right. Yeah. Didn't John 5 make some comment about my Dress to Kill commentary or something? Yeah. So, yes, we will be covering all of them.
Yeah, we'll absolutely do The Elder. It'll be a fun one.
Yeah. Dave Scott will be involved in that one, right?
We'll have Dave Scott on with us. So we'll all four do skip or play on The Elder. That'll be fun because that's Dave's favorite record. So it'll be interesting to see if he can skip anything. So
yeah. And I'd also to the viewers at home that the reason they don't come out all together is there's a certain finite amount of albums, and if we do them all within the first year, it's kind of we've sort of burnt that away. We're trying to stretch them out between other kind of topics and other shows so that they come one every 3 or 4 episodes. You might get a skip or play rather than we just dump the mother load.
We're scraping the barrel for content here. We've got to stretch it out as long as we can.
Exactly.
Smashes, thrashes, and hits. Skip or play.
We have to do that one because of the versions on there. My God, they're so different. Yeah.
Yep. All right, let's see. Nicholas, this will be directed straight to you, and I think we have addressed it in the past, but hopefully probably
should I do a solo vinyl guide?
Yeah.
Yes, I should.
It's from J Lowlich 313. He asks, "What's with the hair?"
That is funny. All right, so Martin the Geek on Instagram asks, "Why are there no Kiss Army kits in the Hottest Brand book?"
Okay. I'll do the politician thing. Say that is an excellent question. Always compliment the asker first. Excellent question there. The reason for that is, and this is I suppose the one it could have or it couldn't. So part of the reason the criteria for the book was a kid in the 70s or very early 80s had to be able to go into a store and buy it. So that's why I said at this stage there was no mobile in-store promo standees or anything that was used by the record company to promote. There was no sort of bags given away at point of purchase. There's none of that stuff would make it in. There was no press kits because that would only be available to a journalist. They've all become since quite extremely collectible things, but I just wanted to really take it on. Here's the journey of the kid at home, and if the kid couldn't get it, then it didn't make it in. One of the things was the Kiss Army kits are clearly things that you can get, and I suppose by themselves they really, should be considered a piece of merchandise in and of themselves. But I was kind of using the merchandise from the Kiss Army kits to show each different one. So sometimes if I'd show like a 1980s shirt, I'd show the little inset of how it was represented in the Kiss Army kit. So technically the kits are sprinkled all the way through the book, but I haven't actually gone deep into what the Kiss Army kits contained. Good friend Mark Cicchini even spoke to Bill Aucoin personally, and Bill Aucoin told him, man, we just threw in whatever we had in that day. So something that went out on a Thursday may be different to what it went in on a Friday. We had a whole lot of printed things. There were stacks in. The junior just shoved them all in the envelope. So you'd kind of, within a certain period, get a definitive kit, but they could totally change as you crossed over, getting closer to the new album, new things coming in. Alive 2, what press photos are in. I've seen some Dynasty kits with varying different kind of, what are they called? 35mm, the trannies, the transparencies.
It takes a man like me to be a woman like me.
Yeah, the trannies, that was something different. But the little slides that went in there. And, even up to creatures. I've seen some creatures with supposedly legitimate pictures of the band with Vinny in it, which I don't know if they actually are legit, but if that had gone out in late 1982 to try and promote it to journalists, maybe they did include the new lineup so they could run it in newspapers. So I suppose the short answer to that very long-winded answer is we decided to hold it back for that very reason, and they could make an appearance in a future project. And I'd like to cover them, as I'd love to cover the the promo posters, the standees, as we talked about, any of the in-store stuff. There's just a wealth of that stuff, but it's almost like that should live in something separate. They're almost like collectibles, which have been collectible to us versus the child's journey going through the book as such. So,
or
yes, that's
he didn't want to.
Yeah. Or, whoops, got the press.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was in there, Joe.
Joe, quality check.
Yeah, I screwed that up. It's all on my hard drive.
Yeah.
All right, so next question on Instagram, Rock Drummer 6766 asks, "What's the one piece of merch that wasn't marketed, but you wished it was?" So I guess he's asking, because he goes on to describe what his would be, like a comic book record combo, those things they used to do in the 70s.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think I have a Masters of the Universe one that's a record and a comic book, And
I had the G.I. Joe, one of the G.I. Joe ones when I was a kid. Yeah.
So that's his idea. Maybe it would have been cool to have a version of the Marvel comic that had them reading the dialogue along. And you could have played it on your record player and followed along. But anyway, so he's asking, can we think of a piece of merchandise that we think would have been cool back in or I guess at any point in time?
Well, I guess that's a tough question, right? Because
it is a tough question.
Yeah, there's a ton of things that we think would be cool. I don't know. I mean, it's such an open-ended question. There's a ton of stuff that I think that could be really cool. We don't.
There's specific things we don't want to give away. I get it. Can you think of anything else outside of those things?
Maybe a promo materials book by Nicholas Buckland.
Featuring a Kiss Armor kit.
Yeah, that's a tough question. I'd probably have to sit down. We do have some ideas.
I think one of the biggest things that everybody's asked for, right, are the expanded editions of the records.
Sure.
Right. Pick a live concert, some live performance somewhere, double record with a remastered version of the of the original studio record, outtakes, demos, booklets, do the Metallica-ized version of, as many of the records as you could do, maybe the first, bunch of records or something. Demo photos, like outtake photos, all that stuff, it's stuff that we haven't seen. Put all those in like master box set, badass, killer collections that are official from the band. I think that to me is one of the biggest things that's one of the biggest sore thumbs to me out there that just hasn't been released. There's got to be a treasure trove of that stuff. We know that there is, from the bootleg circles.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, and lots of other bands have done it, and I think I've shared that before, just even in the last, since 2011, like my other favourite band, Queen, have done, Live at the Rainbow 74, they've done, Live at the Hammersmith 75, they've got Live in 82, Live in 1980, Live in 1986, all this stuff they've put out as official releases. I kind of lament the fact that they don't, it's obviously part of record deals, which we're not privy to, of why they can and can't do this stuff. But if we're just purely talking about things we'd like to see, I'm not sure if that's the reader's question. I mean, the reader's question was maybe back in the day, what didn't they make? Like there could have been, whatever. It's, like there could have been a board, like a different board game, or there could have been, I don't know, different other stuff that could have existed for kids back then that they never had. Nothing comes to mind at the moment. But yeah, in terms of what Joe wants, and that's exactly what I'd love, is what Metallica did for theirs. Like I think it had something like 100 tracks. Pink Floyd have done the same thing. I think they had every single demo, it's pretty much the whole album almost twice. Original demos from Roger Waters, then band demos of them doing it up, and you just getting these mega box sets on there, on their important albums, obviously.
Guns N' Roses did a massive box set on one record. I mean, I know that they had a couple of other, what was it, Live Like a Suicide was in there, right, Jason, and a couple of other pieces and parts, but it essentially was an Appetite record, or an Appetite box set. So it's like, there's no shortage of materials, but please, no more lighters or money clips or ties.
That's so funny because I was just finishing editing that episode and was dropping in all of that stuff and just the whole episode, and I'm sure everyone is, that's watching this has probably seen it by now, but all we did was just rip apart the new colored vinyl release. Luckily I own them. So.
Here's the question: How would they? Let's take Metallica for example. How would they have gone about this? So if you said, all right, Jason and Joe, you're in charge now of this big project Kiss. We want to do one of a certain album. I want you to go out and get all the demos and get all like live material from that era. Does the band actually really hold that, or are they the kind of band that, like Metallica seem to be the kind of, like we had riffs off Kurt Hammett's riff tapes. He's obviously archiving his cassettes. Like, are Gene and Paul the kind of people who keep that stuff, or do they not keep it?
Well, we know Gene is.
Gene keeps everything. I mean, clearly we have the vault.
Yeah.
And just tapes and tapes and tapes and tapes of stuff. And although the vault, I love the vault, and I'm very grateful to have that, and it's a lot of stuff, he kind of stole what could have been great additions to deluxe editions of the Kiss records, because those songs were, for the most part, written for all of those albums. And
broken up into time periods and
right,
all that
and
stuff,
broken it up into time periods, and instead we got it all in the vault. But yes, Gene absolutely keeps that stuff.
However, that stuff hasn't been on vinyl yet.
That stuff has not been on vinyl. That's right. Paul, as everyone knows, doesn't keep as much stuff, but he has shown up in his Twitter feed with some photos of some very interesting things, like reel-to-reel soundboard tapes of Wicked Lester, and just bizarre stuff like that you're like, it's just in a box in the back of his closet, and that's like Holy Grail territory kind of stuff. I don't know. I would imagine that Paul has some demos somewhere. I mean, we got the Love Gun Deluxe, we got his work tape for Love Gun, which a lot of people didn't appreciate, but I love stuff like that. I love to hear how songs were come up with. So he's clearly got something, So, who knows? Who knows what Ace may have some things somewhere. Who knows? You've also got the opportunity that, maybe Eddie Kramer still has some stuff on the records that he worked on, unless he's sold it all, because I know he has sold lots of that stuff, and it is in collector circles, and some of it has leaked out. That's how we got the Rock and Roll Over 3 tracks, warp tapes, basically, of Baby Driver with Gene on scat vocals and See You in Your Dreams and Take Me. So the stuff is out there. And for the records that there aren't enough demos where you would have to go to the band, there are live tapes out there. There's plenty of live tapes that would be worthy of being put on vinyl.
I mean, you could do another Kisteria vinyl box, make it red, and make it a corresponding live record for each one of those records.
Sure. Yeah, that's a good idea. That's the idea we'll go with.
All right, cool.
All right, moving on. Matt, is it Niner, I guess? Matt _Niner asks, what's your most regretful Kiss purchase?
I know what Jason's is.
Oh, you do?
I do, I think. You've told the story many times before on the show.
Tell me. What was it?
What was the catalyst to you blowing out your whole collection the first time?
Oh, I bought those 4 rubber masks. Yeah. I went to Spencer's and bought those things. I think those things were like at least $50 a piece at the time. I think they were $50, $49.99 or something like that. And I brought them home. I lived in a house with like 3 other dudes. I was in college. I brought them home. Had all this Kiss shit just boxed up in a closet, and I threw them out on the bed, and I just wasted. I mean, I made like $6 an hour. That's wasted $200.
I just wasted 2 months on these things.
On this fucking mask, and I said, "That's it. I'm getting rid of it," and I did. I wrote it all up. Still got it to this day. my girlfriend, she sat down and I took a box and I said, blah, 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 mint condition, mint minus, that kind of stuff. And it was like 27 pages of stuff and sold it off.
Is that your most regrettable purchase then? or the purchase that you regret the most because it was?
It would be one of them. I don't know if I regret many KISS purchases. I'm upset that I got taken on I guess I got taken on a Tiger record player, on a counterfeit Tiger record player. It's hard to say that's a regretful purchase, but that made me angry. So, and that's why I'm so adamant in the groups against counterfeits. Mm-hmm. So, but I don't know. Do y'all have any regretful purchases?
Sure.
It's weird for me. I really don't. Although I go through OCD fits and starts of looking back at all this stuff behind me and going, why do I think I've said it on the show before. Why do I have all this? This is. I get another one and I go and put it into the thing and that's and then go out online and get another one and go into the thing.
Joe regrets that he ever listened to KISS.
That's right. That's right. I can't really think, honestly, of anything where I go, boy, I really wish, like I don't have the lava lamp or the gene with that giant fluorescent tongue or those god-awful busts, signed busts. Now, if people love those things, hey, that's,
more power to you.
Yeah, more power to you. I got nothing. I mean, but to me, that stuff is just hideous. And so...
See, someone like Joe, you are a... I mean, if you buy something, you meant to buy it.
I'm very careful about what I buy.
Right.
Yes.
So, you pick and choose, curate exactly what you want to collect, and I'm sure there's no regret in that.
There really isn't. I mean, there's not anything that sits there that just bugs me when I look at it and go, God, I should have never... Because even like Hysteria, I sold off all those pieces and parts because I didn't want the box and the posters and all the stuff. So I have all the records, but I don't have any of this. I don't have any of the stuff. So... Yeah. I don't regret those purchases because I kind of distilled them down to exactly what I wanted, and that's it. How about you, Nicholas?
Yeah. Look, I don't regret. Obviously, before I concentrated on vintage, I was buying everything for a while there. So I had all that kind of stuff, the lava lamps and everything. I don't regret any of that because I always take KISS with a bit of a sense of humor as well. So I the most ridiculous and naff and kitsch and ridiculous. I like to make people laugh. So when they came to the KISS room, they go, "Oh God, I can't believe they did a KISS that." And I was going, "Yeah, it's shit, isn't it?" But I liked having a whole bunch of. It's just I collected all the KISS Hello Kitty things because it was ridiculous. I had those glasses which had rock and roll. It's funny. Like I have a sense of humor about this. So I wasn't collecting as I do a bit more now because it's a lot cooler. But I was collecting because it was ridiculous. I like getting a laugh out of someone walking in the KISS room of how ridiculous and making fun of it all as much as I did being a serious collector. I mean, I've even got still got him here, which is this is Space Bear, which I actually call now Personal Space Bear for the modern era. So I've still got a few of these old things around, and. Yeah, but so I don't regret any of this stuff. The thing I regret is getting ripped off, and like you mentioned, the Tiger record player, and I'll show this up on screen because they're in the KISS room, but I had the KISS 1980 Gene Simmons keychain, the Australian one, and then someone reached out to me, said, I've got a deal on a Paul one you can get. So I bought the Paul one. A couple of months later, he came back to me and said, I've got the Ace. I've located the Ace and the band photo one. So he said, I've got this deal for you. It was only about $150, $200, whatever. And I bought those two, and he goes, I found the Eric one for you. Now, of course, over the next few months, all the plastic on them started bending up. Like the front of it's now you'll see in the photos, they've all warped up, like as though they've all warped, and then having a look inside, it looks like someone's got sticky tape. I can see a bit of sticky tape in there. So someone's they must have had a whole bunch of genes because they're the most common. And one by one photocopied originals or somehow copied them. And he sold them off. He didn't try and give it to me at once. He located them and got them for me. And then I never heard from him again. He just stopped all contact. But I'm pretty sure they're all fake. So I regret, he did it in such a way that I didn't guess that I was being duped, and it was only over time. I have another friend in Australia. He goes, yeah, my Ace Frehley one's just all bent up and stuff. So he was obviously doing this to a few people. So, I mean, unless they are legit, but I thought I could see a little bit of folded tape where you fold it over and to stick it into there. Possibly the back on it, the jean bit, is possibly the real one with the KISS logo side, but yeah, so I think I regret that. I regret getting fooled by that, So it's probably I don't regret buying anything I wanted to buy, but I do regret getting duped and ending up. Every time I look at them, they're so bent now that I just look at them and go, I should throw them in the bin. I can't bring myself to throw them away, but they're rubbish. So yeah, I think that's my regrettable purchase.
Wow.
Sadly.
Okay, so moving on to, I think these two questions are from our Facebook page, not our groups, our Facebook page.
Okay.
It's Javier Boster, Boster. Is that how you say his name? Javier Boster?
Bastard.
Bastard, yeah. Sorry, Javier.
Sorry, Javier.
Javier.
Sorry, Javier.
Yeah. Javier. Yeah. He asks us, does a prototype of the KISS Honda Mobile exist? Does the motorcycle exist? Does anyone know? In your research for the book?
So. I think all we could find was there's a couple of stories. There's that long one that Jean gave one to Cher, and then somebody actually asked Cher, and she said, "Never gave me a motorcycle." So, give me money, No, but I think it looks like it was just mocked up for that photo shoot. They didn't have it. I mean, the Honda Hawk 2 was obviously a legitimate bike that was out there. There's someone that claims that they received one and on-sold it as part of a radio promo thing. But again, you're having stories related to you from second and third parties. And there's a claim that someone from Japan, the biggest collector, he actually works for Honda, and he has the largest private collection in the world of Honda motorcycles. Apparently he's got one. But then again, we've never seen any pictures, and it's just a story from someone on the internet. So as far as there was one that turned up on eBay, and people picked it apart and saw it had been recreated. And so as far as we know, no, it doesn't exist, and it was only done for a photo shoot. So
there you go.
But that's not a definitive answer. That's just all we think, because we've got no evidence either way.
All right, and the second question from the Kiss My Collectibles Facebook page is from Aaron Philpott, and he asks, what is your favorite piece of non-makeup era merchandise? This does not pertain to Joe. Non-makeup merchandise.
My knee-jerk reaction would be my Hot in the Shade tour book, because it was the first tour book I bought on my own at a show. Even though I was at a show prior, I saw the Asylum tour, and I saw Crazy Nights. But yeah, that was the first tour book that I bought. So
I'm gonna go with the Revenge tour book for me. It's my probably second favorite tour book. I love it,
and I enjoy that era of music too.
Yeah,
so
I do too.
That was kind of like a wheelhouse for me, because that's when I was really heavy into the band. Was it teenage years kind of stuff?
Yep.
So I love that. I love that time period.
Yep. Anything, Nicholas?
Yeah, I think with that era stuff, I liked all the stuff. I've since got rid of some of it, but I used to have a great European black and gold Lick It Up tour era scarf. Had all these great that kind of early 80s stuff. I still liked. It almost felt like a follow-on. There was a whole bunch of I had about 3 or 4 of them I sold at once, which was Animalize era headbands. There was like the black and white stripe one. There was the tiger stripe one. There was a couple of bandanas. I mean, I loved all the bandanas. I still got some of them. There was a Revenge bandana and a Crazy Nights one. Asylum. I think it was pretty much for all the tours that had a bandana. So I like some of the tour merch. I was like you guys, absolutely love the tour books. And while I'm slowly getting rid of all my non-vintage era stuff, the toolbooks will always stay because I just love printed material so much. So I'm keeping all those. I won't sell the toolbooks ever. So I got a real. I love the giant size, as you said. The Hot in the Shade and Revenge toolbooks are big favourites for me. So yeah.
Cool.
All right. What else do we have here? Let's see. From Everything Kiss, maybe the Facebook page or wherever. Ron Buckley says, I know many dislike the newer merch, but what are some of the more rare collectible items within the last 25 years? Is it only the high-end stuff like instruments? Would love to hear your thoughts on this. Some of the rare collectibles within the last 25 years. Well, I would...
the Love Gun McFarlane set has become pretty valuable over time, right?
Yeah, but you can still find them fairly easily.
But they've gone up quite a bit in value based on what we bought them for, I think.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, I think so. But they're pretty common. The thing about them is the reason why they seem to sell, in my opinion, is because it's actually a pretty cool collectible, and people still want it, even if you're, maybe not vintage only like Nicholas, but if you lean vintage, kind of like I do. There's still some of those modern pieces that are cool, because not all that stuff, in my opinion, was cool. Some of it was tchotchke. Yeah. But those box sets of those McFarlanes are good. But I was thinking more along the lines of, even though these kinds of items may not be as cool, like I wouldn't want to collect them, but those, what were those boots that had they were leather boots that. I think
there was 3 types of them. Yeah, they have the sewn in faces on them.
Sewn in faces.
Those are cowboy. Rare. There was white motorcycle and that one other one. Yeah,
those are scarce and bring pretty good money whenever they come up, and you don't see them too often. I don't know. See, I don't even know if I would like the high end instrument stuff. I don't even know how collectible that would be because. They're expensive, clearly.
Yeah.
But most of the people buy that stuff now for the experience, not for the instrument.
Sure. It's like your take-home souvenir from the experience, yeah. Right.
So it's like, you pay $5,000 or whatever it is, $5,000 or $6,000 for a Gene Simmons bass, and you go meet him and you have this experience. But are you really going to be able to get $5,000 out of that bass if you went and sold it again?
Probably not.
No, $2,500, $3,000. So it's really a loss.
I think too. Part of that question is what has been surprisingly collectible. To me, some of those figures, toy company figures, to go back to those, have become surprisingly collectible. The Dynasty ones for sure. The Dress to Kill, I think, is the other set that's hard to find, or is it Alive?
The Alive 12 inches.
The Alive
and the Dress
12
to Kill
inch,
12 inches.
Yes. And the original ones, they've since done a second lot of Alive with different packaging. Right. But so those original ones are hard to find. They're kind of that grey white kind of colour. We'll show it up here anyway.
Yeah. So that is another thing that's come out. There hasn't been much else really in the modern era that came out and was affordable and then kind of went away and became that I can think of anyway.
Look, there's a few things I've noticed that have become collectible, and probably with a slightly smaller circle, but Tom Matey's got a few from Everything Kiss. There was a series of ashtrays, cups and glassware from 1995 with the red logo on it, or alternatively was an outtake from the Kiss first album cover. And they fetch some higher prices, higher in regards to what normal those kind of things are, and they're quite collectible as a whole set. To have that kind of merchandise come out in 1995, kind of predating the 97 stuff. There's a whole bunch of stuff from Psycho Circus era. They put out so much, but it didn't all sell, so it's in smaller numbers. You've got the goblets, there's some glassware, and all those kind of things, which I assume they hit some Spencers, but they weren't around for that long. There's some, I'll show a bunch of them up on screen anyway, some hip flasks and all that stuff. And I'll say they're rare vintage from that era, from the 90s. Do they fetch huge prices? Probably not, because there's not enough people bidding on them.
Right.
But they are definitely sought after items between people who collect all KISS stuff, only because they're just harder to find. They're not as common as anything post 2005, 2006 is pretty much easy to find. There's a couple of things. Actually, one of the things that's become a super rare collectible is the tiger, the eye dogs. I don't know if you've seen. Do you remember them? They're Japanese little things with the faces. I think I sold a set of mine for about $250, $300, and they're worth way more now. They were very limited. I think they were almost sold out on Amazon when they first dropped in the States. They're very rare. So there's a few pieces like that.
The Funkos.
The KISS. The Funkos.
The Chase
the
Funkos,
first set of those.
for sure. The
Mm.
Chase ones, which were, I think they were glow in the dark. Those are super expensive.
Gene has a tongue on the Chase version. Yeah.
Yes, those are super.
The bowling ball.
The
skateboard, right? Like those
skateboards are hard to find. Yeah, very hard to find those ones. Yeah.
Yeah,
the Funkos. The Funkos is another one of my terrible stories of trying to make room in such a big room and throwing out all the boxes of them. So I've got that first series Funkos, and I binned them all. I even gloated on it and showed a friend who said, "Don't throw out the boxes." I hate the boxes, so I took a photo of them in my recycle bin before we.
After what you did earlier in the episode, I don't even know why that bothers you.
Right.
Yeah. I'm very rash. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, from Everything Kiss, Gordon Spears says, just a query about the History book. I've seen a few for sale on eBay and Facebook over the last year or so, and they all seem to be signed by Gene, Paul, Peter, and Ace. However, my copy is also signed by Bruce and Eric, plus the serial number. He says, as also. So is my copy part of a limited run, or is it more collectible? And he had a photo he said he had with it, but I didn't see it.
He didn't share a photo with that. I'm not sure if he meant that also has Bruce and Eric, or it's that first run that actually had Bruce and Eric.
If he bought that used, he probably bought it from someone who had a Gene, Paul, Eric, and Bruce that was numbered.
Yeah.
And then met Ace and Peter, and they signed it later.
Yeah.
Would be
or vice versa, met Bruce and Eric somewhere else. Yeah.
Well, no, because the Gene, Paul, Peter, and Aces, I don't think were numbered.
No,
they were not numbered.
No, they were. Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So it would have to be a Gene, Paul. What
could there have been the ending run of books in a box someplace, and they pulled those out first and signed them and added to it, and off they went? Maybe.
But I would think that it would be a Gene, Paul, Eric, and Bruce numbered, especially if we knew the number. If it was like down in the 7s, 8s, 9,000s. I think my first one was in the early thousands, and it fell apart, and they sent me another one, and it was like 16,000 or something like that, signed by Gene, Paul, Eric, and Bruce. That's what I think. So I think he's got something that's, been signed by, taken and signed by. But because I've showed mine
on Frankenstein.
Right. I've shown mine in the podcast before. Mine is signed by Gene, Paul, Ace, Vinny, Eric, Bruce, Bill Aucoin, Bill Starkey. I don't know. I haven't gotten Peter to sign it yet. So, but yeah, people use that autograph page to get the band to sign those things.
Other people, yeah.
So, from, I don't know if this is from the Wax Group or anyway, mixed from the Wax Group and Collectibles Group. We've got Danny Finaro. I guess that's how you say Danny's last name. He says, do you think because of everything that is going on with the world, will there possibly only be one more KISS show left, or is it all over now? What do you guys think? I have my opinion. Because they postponed South America and all of that.
Depends how much money there is to be made. I mean, if they think that there's money to be recouped, I'm sure, an extra couple of years won't make any difference.
Right? That stuff's already done and right. I mean, I would think all those contracts are signed and.
Yeah.
Right.
My opinion is it'll go on as before. They'll push out a date. Maybe they'll end Madison Square Garden in 2022 instead of 21, and off you go. It just, I mean, this whole thing, it's also unsure right now because they're talking about could there be another flare up? Of course there will be, and who's comfortable with that? And you look at some of Gene's Twitter responses right now. He doesn't seem like he's big on getting out into the community anytime
For sure
soon.
not. Yeah, for sure not.
Yeah.
Gene has turned into Howie Mandel all of a sudden.
Yeah,
that's right.
Look, I think for a lot of these countries as well, like we kind of go, even when they relax the day-to-day stuff, when are they going to allow 20,000 people, 10,000 people in an arena together? That may take a bit longer. That may take a year. Or
that sounds like a vaccine or a therapeutic time, right? That's before any of that stuff happens. So I don't know. It's an interesting question as I talk my way through it. I don't know. Who knows?
The Download Festival. What was that? Is that
what?
I just heard
that was Nicholas's cuckoo clock.
Yeah. I saw that the Download Festival in the summer has been canceled. So to me, that says that Europe is postponed for sure. And of course, it may have already been announced or about to be announced.
Roger Waters just canceled his thing in July, so that's now getting way off into the summer.
Right. So my opinion is
Vinnie Vincent just cancelled his concerts, but it may have nothing to do with the coronavirus.
And his box set.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. His cassette box set.
My opinion.
He preempted this. It was a forefront.
He's been canceling shit for 30 years.
He's like,
I knew it was coming. I knew
it.
My opinion is that Kiss is done for 2020. I don't think they'll do anything in the rest of the year. I think the cruise is going to be canceled.
Forever.
I think it's done.
I don't think the cruise will. I think Kiss Cruise 10 is kaput and sunk. I don't think anybody's getting on any petri dish.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So 2021, I'm sure we'll see some shows. Who knows if that final date will still be where they have it sitting right now,
or maybe see it being.
Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah.
But I don't think they do.
It's not like they had to end at that date. They just picked an end of date of all their shows. Now they'll just pick another end date, that kind of thing.
Okay, so the next question is from Gary George, and he says, and thank you, Gary, for the kind words. After the amazing outcome of Space Invader, what would your guys' dream project be next to tackle?
We've got them in the works. The dream projects that we have available to us right now are the ones that we're working on that we're pretty psyched about.
Good answer. Good answer.
Is that political enough?
That's. I think I'd like to have a run at doing. If you talk about pure dreams, I'd like to have a run at the Kiss catalog and actually do the box sets properly. I'm not saying that anyone's going to let us do that. I'm just saying that if we're talking pure dreams, I'd love to do a big research project and get everything and these monster box sets.
Yeah.
Not mean to use the word monster, but you know what I mean.
Monster.
No,
and we're starting with monster. It's awesome.
Yeah.
God, so, you wait till that skip will play.
So Darren Hunt asks, and this will be fun. This will be real fun. What bands are your favorite bands besides Kiss and Kiss related? Is Nicholas frozen? Oh, there we go.
No.
Yeah, you were.
It's so interesting. My musical tastes are wide and varied. Right. I'll listen to jazz one day, like old school 50s prestige, Blue Note, kind of jazz. Then I'll listen to Lamb of God the next day, and then I'll listen to the Sundays one day, and so my really sort of melodic music is where I end up falling. Melodic and groovy music is where I kind of fall in. So it just depends on the day and my taste, but yeah. So I mean, I have a ton of favorites.
Do 5.
Oh gosh,
they don't have to be in order. Just 5 of your favorites.
So Billy Joel, from nostalgia standpoint, I love a good Joe Satriani record.
Okay.
Miles Davis, Any Day of the Week. I'm a big fan of a guy called Gregory Porter. He's a new soul singer.
So she pulled my lion's tail and caused me pain. She said lions are made.
Jamie Cullum, a new sort of voice in the last 10 years on the jazz scene. So there's a couple anyway.
There you go. Nicholas.
Obviously there's, I have a lot of varied stuff. I listen to a lot of, hip hop, Aussie hip hop as well.
Not Aussie, but I listen to hip hop, yeah.
Yeah. A whole lot of different styles all the time. But in terms of the ones that I in terms of put a little bit more time into, I think no secret that I'm a huge Queen fan, and Queen are my favourite band of all time. I started with them around the Highlander time, and then went back into the catalogue. So that's continued to this day. I probably know more about Queen than I do Kiss, really. I mean, I'm a huge Beatles fan. I grew up on Metallica and heavy bands like Metallica, AC/DC. I was really AC/DC was my first love, and then I moved I kind of didn't get into the hair metal era, but I was going more down the thrash kind of era, like sort of Metallica, Red Hot Chili Peppers, and all that kind of led into, and that was Red Hot Chili Peppers back when they were sort of a bit more Hillel Slavic, sort of that sort of bit more funky, sort of slap bassy kind of stuff. That all led into, then I went straight into the grunge era of all those kind of bands, of course. But I don't listen to them much anymore. I've got back into classic era Chicago. Don't know if you listen to many of those. Those first 6 jazz rock albums are like absolutely
amazing. The horns and guitar in those are just stunning.
Just incredible. And they had 3 vocalists. I mean, they had Robert Lamb, whose vocals are doing the Saturday in the Park, and Terry Kath is my favorite vocalist of all time. He's the guy who accidentally shot himself in the head, but he was like big blues voice and did their big rocker numbers and stuff. And obviously Pete Cetera later kind of took over the whole band, and it became what it became in the ones we hear on FM radio. But Danny Seraphin is my favorite drummer of all time. I absolutely love his drumming on those Chicago records. Like, I think he's actually buddies with Tommy Thayer. I see him hanging out with him. But yeah, he's no longer in the band, but he's just that jazz playing, really fast. Absolutely love Chicago. So yeah, they're probably my main ones. But of the more modern stuff, slightly modern, is I listen to a lot of Beck, because I just love how every album is crafted in a different style. I love how he changes. This album will be this style, then the next album will be the next style. But yeah, they're some of my favorites. What about you, Jason?
This will show you how wide and varied my collection is. So, 2 records next to each other. Winger, In the Heart of the Young, love
amazing
it.
Record.
Love some great power ballads, some amazing riffs on there by Reb Beach, and then, Al Green's Gets Next to You. I mean, it's just amazing, old school, thumping soul and funk. So, I don't know. I guess that's probably why I have a record store, right? Because I love so many different types of music. Sure. When people come in and ask me, what do you like? I can certainly give recommendations, but to say, favorites, I mean, it's just really, really wide and varied. What I don't do is like modern country. I don't do much classical at all. Modern country, that is. But, Johnny Cash and Waylon Jennings and old school stuff like that's pretty great too. So, I don't know.
Well, I'm vastly different than you guys, and of course I'm not telling you anything that we haven't already talked about a million times in private.
Can I guess 3 of them?
Give it a shot.
Warrant.
Sure.
Slaughter.
Top 10 for sure. I don't know about top 5. Top 10 for sure, probably. I don't know if I'd put them in top 5.
Okay, good.
All right. So, my absolute favorite band outside of Kiss is King's X, which is a very, very underrated 3-piece band with...
Is that how you say it? I always thought it was King's Cross. I don't know why.
No, it's King's X. And, if you don't know anything about them, check them out. Their biggest hit was probably Dog Man. It was produced by Brendan O'Brien, that record that came out in 1994. Killer, super harmonic, very their lead singer and bass player is black, and he sounds just like Jimi Hendrix, and just he has a side project called KXM with George Lynch and Ray Luzier, or however you say his last name, the drummer from Korn. Incredible. But I as you guys know, I'm more of I like 80s metal. I like what a lot of people refer to as hair bands, but I also love 80s pop and all of that kind of stuff. So I would say, outside of Kiss and Kiss-related stuff, definitely Warrant. I'm a huge Jani Lane fan. King's X for sure. Prince, Revolution era Prince. Not that I don't appreciate what came after and what came before that, but the records 1999 through Sign of the Times. Sign of the Times is really, New Power Generation, but really 1999 through Around the World in a Day.
Boy, some of that New Power Generation stuff was slamming, though, too.
Sure, of course it is. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Parade, those 4 records there were probably some of the first records that I ever owned that were not hard rock and metal related, and I just love them. Middle era Michael Jackson.
Tears for Fears.
I love that record Behind You, which is Songs from the Big Chair. It's one of my all-time.
See it off camera, but Songs from the Big Chair, yeah.
Songs from the Big Chair, which is one of my all-time favorite records. But I wouldn't put Tears for Fears in as one of my all-time favorite bands, because while I like some tracks from some of the records before and after Songs from the Big Chair, I really, none of that really speaks to me as much. So I wouldn't put them in my top 5. But yeah, Prince, Michael Jackson, King's X, Warrant.
The 80s were a great time for them.
Yes. I
really... Slaughter has to be in there. You've seen them live more than any other band. They have to be in your top 5.
They're close. They're probably 5 or 6. I'm a big Mark Slaughter fan, and they put out 5 studio records that I just absolutely love. Every single song on every one of them, and never tire of listening to them. So that's, I guess that meets the definition of an all-time favorite band. The only thing about Slaughter is I wish they would have had more output as far as studio records. So, all right, let's do a couple of more and then wrap it up. What do we say?
Yep.
Here's a technical kind of question. Victor V says this is a rookie amateur question here, which I don't think. I think it's a good question for people that are just getting into it. And Joe will be able to help. We won't ask Nicholas this. Nicholas does not need to answer this question. What is the best way to store your vinyl? Under your bed, on its side, on top of the vent.
Yeah. I'd say this way. Just keep it organized. I kind of go back and forth. It's interesting. Do you put it in a plastic sleeve? Do you not? That sort of thing. The stuff that's more valuable for me, I put it in a closed plastic sleeve with kind of that sticky kind of plastic backing. So it folds over and it's always protected from dust.
Resealable sleeves.
What's that?
Resealable sleeves.
Yep, resealable sleeves. Yep.
But that's just for the cover, isn't it? Though that's not for the record. Record's so protected by going sliding.
Right, and I would highly suggest taking the record out of the sleeve, putting it behind the record, so you don't get any additional ring wear on your records. Never store them flat.
Yeah, Nicholas. Never store them flat.
Yeah, but they were
because that's how you get ring wear with the rubbing, the uneven rubbing of the record warping, inside this, all of the stuff. Yeah. And the other thing too is some sort of probably a plastic or rice paper sleeve for your more valuable records, because when you put a record in and out of any kind of paper sleeve, you're going to get some sort of scuffing. When you get that scuffing, you're going to get some sort of surface noise when you're playing the record all the time. And it's going to get worse every time you take it in and out of the sleeve. So especially for collectible records, put them in a MoFi sleeve or some sort of rice paper or plastic inner sort of sleeve. I think is it called Inside Vinyl? I think there's another company that makes them, but MoFi I think is like
that's the gold standard.
Yeah, MoFi is the one, right? It's made out of like an archival plastic and a rice paper insert or something like that.
That's right.
So yeah, that's it. And then for surface noise, just make sure that you use some sort of record cleaning fluid that's not alcohol based, and at least wipe off your record every time you're going to listen to it, just so you don't get dust and surface noise on it. Yeah.
It's funny because when I was a kid, that's how I cleaned all my records, with fucking isopropyl alcohol.
We all did. Right? Yeah, we all. That's what everybody
on the
used,
record.
Yeah.
What does that do? What does that do?
Over time, some experts believe that it degrades the quality of the vinyl over time.
Sure, it's alcohol on
vinyl.
Plastic.
Eating
vinyl,
away.
Yeah, it just eats it away.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Yeah. So, all right, last question. We've got a lot more, so maybe we'll do a part 2 of this at some point in time. But let's just end on this one. Brian Rowe asks, what's the most expensive KISS collectible that you have ever seen, and how much did it sell for? I don't know if he means did we see it in person or did we see it on eBay? Because I think I know the answer to that if it's an eBay question.
Then you answer it.
Well, it would be the Return of KISS tour book that we saw sell for $10,000.
That was the thing that sprung to my mind. Yeah. However...
So let's talk about some vinyl.
Yeah. So the vinyl right now is the Best of KISS, the Japanese. It's at least up there in the running for most expensive vinyl. I would say the White Double Platinum is a close second, depending on who and where and when and all that kind of stuff,
So the last Best of KISS in Japan that we saw kind of went under the radar because it was sold on Yahoo Japan auctions, and I think it went for, what was it, 2,600, 25 or 26,
25 or 2,600, yeah,
somewhere in there. That record in an eBay auction, I think, is easily a $4,000 or $5,000 record. Yeah, I think
at least $3,000 for sure.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
I see you're saying if it was opened up to the whole world to be bidding on it,
if people knew about it, the KISS community at large knew about it. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. The Japan Yahoo auction site, it's all in Japanese. You can't translate it, and you have to have like a third party kind of app that kind of connects itself to that, so you can even tell what the hell you're doing in English. And just a lot of people don't know about it, well, they do now. They don't know about it, or they don't watch it, or it's difficult to navigate.
It's a bit too hard for them, yeah.
Right, so you don't get a lot of bidding on there. So sometimes when you see some things pop up, like those, in-store promotional Japanese posters and stuff like that pop up from time to time there, you can get a quote-unquote deal, You can get a $4,000 record for $2,000, or you can get a $600 poster for $250 or something like that.
Yeah.
So, White Double Platinum. What are we looking at there? What did the last one go for, Joe? Do you remember?
I think it was $2,500 or $2,600, somewhere around in that same range.
Right, $2,500 or $2,600.
So I think those are the two super high-end records, I think, that are out there, period, of the most collectible. I think it drops off pretty dramatically after that.
Yeah, I think you start getting down into the $1,000 range.
Like Lo Mayor in really, really, really nice shape is going to be around $1,000 probably. After that, I don't know. I think it takes a pretty steep drop off after that. I'd have to sort of think about it.
So it's really not up there with stuff like Beatles, rarities, or anything like that.
Nothing.
When they're talking in their
No.
Beatles
are their own thing. Yeah.
Like I think I shared the other day the Bohemian Rhapsody from 1978, the blue and the purple vinyl. They're like about £3,500 each, which is probably about $5,000.
Sure.
US. And that's just for a 45 single. So yeah, there's some. I mean, obviously, when it comes to other bands, they're a little smaller, but still quite expensive records, aren't they?
Sure.
Even your top ones. So yeah.
Sure.
I know. There's another one which we've talked about before. I know somebody who turned down a $30,000 offer for the microphone, the KISS microphone.
That's right.
Yeah. So that's not really an auction, but in terms of what it could possibly he possibly could have sold it for if he had taken that offer, and if the guy had paid, then that could have been by far the most expensive KISS collectible.
Right. Joe, how fast would you sell a toy microphone for $30,000?
How fast would you sell a toy microphone for $30,000?
Oh, I would sell it.
You damn right.
Oh yeah, yeah. Your wife would be packing that thing up, and you'd have the packing tape right behind her. You guys would be sweating bullets trying to get that out the door. I mean, look, yeah, there's not many KISS collectibles that are a life-changing amount of money, and not that $30,000 is like a massively like $1 million or $2 million. It's not like, oh, I can retire kind of a thing. But that's
not Superman. Yeah.
But that's a pretty massive chunk of money.
Right. None of that is, in these 2,000, 2,500, 3,000, none of that's life-changing. But, in the scheme of collecting, it's expensive stuff.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I mean, that's elite level. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think the only thing that you would see
beyond...
Go
for, Joe?
Sorry, go ahead, Nicholas.
I was going to say, what would comics from the 20s and 30s go for? I'm not sure about the first issue of Superman, but are there any other comics which are up there in the crazy 20,000 kind of amounts?
Oh, millions.
Or,
millions.
Yeah.
Millions.
Obviously for the first Superman, but you mean there's more comics which are going in the millions?
Yeah, Amazing Fantasy with Spider-Man, like the first appearance of Spider-Man, it's super. I mean, I'm totally guessing, but I would say that's over $1 million at this point. In slabbed, which means graded, some sort of graded condition.
Yep.
So yeah, any of those like first appearances of the iconic, Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, who are the big three to me, those would be massively more expensive than any of this stuff because it has a much wider reach of a much bigger fan base. All just like the Beatles. That's why their stuff is. You've got 100,000 people interested rather than 10,000.
Yeah, of course.
You have a few million people interested rather than 1,500 like we have here.
Yeah, exactly. So. I think the other thing though that's interesting if you're not talking just collectibles, if you're talking about things like, John Humphrey showed that amazing bell that they would ring during Firehouse back in the day. Like that's got to be, like who knows what that would go for, like up at a Butterfield's kind of auction.
Sure.
The amazing costume pieces that John 5 was showing on his, on his episode, stuff like that. I know that's a totally separate kind of thing, but I think that's when you get into super rarefied air, like early Paul Stanley guitars, Gene Axe basses, stage played stuff.
Yeah, I mean, even like the, you get when you start talking about. I guess the question should have been separated between like merchandise, KISS collectible merchandise, and one of a kind kind of things. We've seen in the last 2 years a couple of the Kramer Axe bases from 1981, I think it was. Mm-hmm. There's only a few hundred of those. They $10,000 minimum.
Yeah,
$10,000 minimum every time they sell. So,
Yeah, I mean that those kind of prices probably blow everything out of the water, don't they? Especially in terms of merchandise and
for sure. For sure.
I mean, because they're also expensive anyway. I mean, when you bought these basses or guitars, they're probably in the 2,000, 3,000 range to start with, aren't they? A lot of this stuff, not the Kramer ones, but I mean, like the just instruments in general. What would a Paul Stanley Iceman cost to buy?
Well, it depends. It depends on the model because
how early it was,
right when you're talking about a PS10-2 from 1996, I think it was. I mean, that's a $1,200, $1,500 guitar. Or you talk about the PS10 Limited with the gold trim and stuff from 1995. That's a $3,000 guitar. But if you talk about a 1978 Paul Stanley PS10 in mint condition, that's a $5,000 or $6,000 guitar. The guitars they're selling today, with these experiences, for the most part, aren't going to pull in the money that you paid to have that experience. But when you go back and look at that Kramer guitar, which was available on on the unmasked order form, the Kramer bass, that was available to the public. And I don't remember what it says it cost on there. I don't know if it even does have a price.
I just looked at it today, actually, when I was organizing records, and it didn't say. It said coming soon worldwide kind of a thing, I believe, anyway.
Right. So, but that for sure, I know someone who bought one of those about 2 years ago, and he paid $10,000 for it. So, it's an interesting discussion. Interesting. So, that's it? It on the questions, the viewers' questions for now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm out. So, well, guys, we appreciate you submitting the questions. We know we didn't get to all of you. We'll do a part 2 somewhere down the line. Pick up the rest of these questions. If
you got any more, just comment on this one. Just add some more questions. We'll keep them and we'll try and answer them next time as well.
Yep, absolutely. So, if that's it, gentlemen,
that's it.
Yep.
We will see you on the next one.
Hi, everybody. It's Gene Simmons, and you're not. This is Kiss My Collectibles podcast. What you do there?
Also from the page, hold on. Are y'all there?
Yep.
Yep.
Hold on. What's up, man?
How are you?
Good. We're in the middle of recording an episode.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, that's all right. What's up?
Well, I have an idea.
Okay.
What's your outfit?
We're actually doing a viewers' questions thing. What's your idea?
That rash should clear up with a bit of topical cream. It's his chemist.
Yes, it did.
Uh-huh. Yes. Uh-huh. I see. Thank you, doctor.
He's dead.
I'm dying.
Wasn't it, what was that? Was that Top Secret where he picks up the fingers? Yes, thank you.
Yeah, man.
You'll let me know if his condition changes. He's dead.
And you just be the guy there with us?
I'm just like the,
If you want to do that, and I'm sure, I'm talking to Nicholas and Joe right now. I'll talk to them about it. I'm sure they'll be fine. But yeah, we would love to do that. That would be fun.
I'm not here.